I get two questions quite often about real estate. John, why did you get into real estate? Or, John, can you help me get into real estate? So I wanted to unravel that a little bit and talk to you about the reasons that I got into real estate, the grind, what it takes to stay in real estate, and some of those things. And maybe if you're considering getting into real estate, some things that might help you get a jump start on it. So, I spent 20 years in the restaurant business before getting into real estate. I actually got my real estate license in 1989. My mom and dad sold real estate in St. Petersburg. My sister still has a real estate license over in St. Pete. And so at that point, I think a single family home in St. Petersburg, about the average price was about $125,000. So as you can guess, wasn't making a lot of money trying to learn it as a 20 something year old. I think I was 28 at the time. And I stumbled upon Outback Steakhouse actually and ended up spending the next 16 years with them, learning, growing, opening restaurants, moving across the country to Las Vegas and back. Actually loved the restaurant business, but you cannot possibly have a life in the restaurant business. It's just impossible. I thought 12 and 13-hour days was pretty normal. I thought going to work at 1 o'clock in the afternoon was great. Didn't mind coming home at 1 or 2 in the morning. But I was building somebody else's business. I was really good at it, but I was building somebody else's business. No matter how well I did, I was always working for somebody else. So as things rolled along, out of the restaurant business, I went. I popped in and out of a couple of different things. And finally, a friend of mine was a real estate appraiser, still had my real estate license, said, why don't you give this a shot? And I did, and learned so much doing appraisals. And I said, I can take this, my knowledge from appraisals, and roll it into real estate sales, which I did. Now, it took me a while to get going, I got to tell you. I tried my first year doing it by myself. I was with Keller Williams, great place to start for newbies, lots of great training there. And I sat in every single class I possibly could to get into real estate. But it was still finding sales and getting the lingo down and learning what I needed to know to get new business and establishing myself. The internet wasn't quite what it is now, so you couldn't put out as much on Instagram and Facebook and all of that. Back in 2005 is when I jumped in as a real estate appraiser. So I needed something. I was a divorced dad. I had custody of my two sons. Some of you may know my story. My oldest son is autistic. So I had to be able to drop drop everything and be able to go to the school and get my son if I needed to, or in Manatee County at the time, on Wednesdays, they were getting out at, I think it was 12:30 every Wednesday. So I needed to have that availability. You know, it's easy to look back and go, man, I wish I'd have started with Publix way back then. That would have been amazing. But I would have been right back into the grind of, 10 to 12-hour days working for somebody else and not having the ability to say, hey, I've got to leave because my son's melting down at school and I got to go pick him up. So appraisal work for about 3.5 to 4 years. And then I said, I'm going into sales. So I jumped into it. Finally made the decision to join a team and ask a guy at Keller Williams if I could join his team as a buyer agent, which I did, and just tried to shadow him as much as I possibly could to learn how he had been successful for 30 years in real estate. Learned a ton. Absolutely. Worked every single time I could with him on a listing appointment, with working with a buyer, whatever I could, to try to listen to him, to what he was doing. So eventually I said, well, just like everybody on a team does, I can do this on my own. And I did. I split off from the team and I started selling on my own. Now, my story is I learned how to work with retirement communities and people who are moving into retirement communities, helping those people sell their home, find estate sale people, doing clean outs, doing donations, having a cleaning service, um, repair people that can help them that are honest, and really latched on to that. And that was what really jump started me into real estate and really got me going. I always tell the story. My son Garrett, being autistic, taught me so much in life, continues to teach me things, but it taught me to slow down, have patience, have compassion for people, under, try to understand that they don't understand you, and just so many other things. And as it would have it, I end up working with seniors in real estate. And a lot of times it's a single woman. And sometimes I've seen it where they haven't paid the bills or they have no earthly idea where to start this process. They actually believe they're going to be packing boxes up and moving themselves to a community. So, yeah, it taught me to have that compassion, slow down. What is it that they need here to understand, to not uh, let people take advantage of them, and kind of bring the stress level down as low as I can. So that was really my passion for getting into it. I teach or taught at Keller Williams, and newbies would always say, "Oh, I love helping people," and that's not why I got in real estate. I do love to help people find or sell real estate, but I do it on more of a transactional type of thing where I'm saying, hey, let's find you the correct home, or let's net you the most that we possibly can at this current time in the real estate market. Because there's definitely highs and there's definitely lows in the real estate market. And educating people through that process is huge. So, as I said, I spent a lot of time. I still do on educational stuff. Still watch people constantly. Watch other agents' YouTube videos. Follow other agents online to see what they're doing, what's bringing them success. So it's a continual thing. People always say to me, John, is real estate, yeah, you're working nights, weekends, blah, 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 crazy hours. My response always is, after 20 years in the restaurant business, it's almost like I'm on vacation, because I'm not every single week working 60 hours. And when I was with Outback Steakhouse, it was nights only. So it was nights, weekends, all holidays. I was away from home. So being able to be at home with my sons while they were growing up, making dinner for them, was huge for me. Very, very important. It's a grind getting into it. Um, I walk new agents through this all the time. How many people can you contact? How many emails can you send out? How many people can you talk to about getting into the business, or I've gotten my real estate license? I always encourage new people to get on a team if they can, to get experience under their belt, because just trying to jump in as a new person, I believe the statistic is 70% of all real estate agents get out of the business after the first year, and then another 10% after the second year. They quit because the discipline is not there. All of a sudden, you are your boss. And I say to people, if you were your boss, would you continue to employ you for the work that you're doing? And most of them look at me and say, probably not, because you have to be disciplined enough every single day to get out there and generate new business. Because once you get that sale, yes, you have a new client and you're going to stay in touch with that client. But guess what? You're fighting for that next paycheck. You're looking for it. Where's it going to come from? Newbies getting in the business, I tell them, if you had a contract today, you're at least 30 days away from a paycheck. So if you don't have 4 to 6 months worth of savings to get into the business, it's not a good thing. We're in the 2026 real estate market right now. I talked to a land acquisition person yesterday at an open house. He works with one of the big builders here in the area. On a normal month, they're selling 30 homes a month. Month to date, and it's the 23rd, they had sold 9 homes this month. And with the cost of everything going up the way it has in labor, supplies, finding the land, doing all those things, plus they're having to give incentives to people to buy, giving them $20, $25, $30,000 worth of incentives to pay closing costs and everything. They're basically breaking even on these homes that they're building. So it is a very unique, very challenging market right now. Not for a newbie, I would tell you, to get into it. The average agent right now has, in the last year, 2025, sold 2 homes. Okay, 2. So that's 2 paychecks for the entire year. I couldn't survive on that, I can tell you that. We had a really great 2025. We had an amazing 2024, and that's going to help me carry through on 2026. So it's a grind getting into it. The challenges is finding the business, continuing to find business, and convincing people through your knowledge that you're able to handle one of the largest transactions in their lifetime. Typically, a house is one of the biggest transactions that you'll deal with in your lifetime, and convincing them that you're able to handle that, represent them, bring that knowledge to them about the contract, knowing the contract word for word, what every single line in the contract means. So that's very important as well. And then dealing with the ups and downs in real estate, I can tell you, I've had friends list their house with somebody else and go, oh, hey, I forgot you're in real estate. Or for me, in the last year, I've had probably 3 homes where I went, did my listing presentation. The people said, this is amazing. Thank you for all this information. You did such a great job. As soon as we're ready, we're going to give you a call. And then lo and behold, a few weeks later, after sending them updates and staying with them, they say, yeah, my sister's cousin's brother got his real estate license, and we're going to help him out, and we're going to use him. Really? Really? Just to get him started? You're going to trust that person to represent you in that transaction? But it's happened to me several times, and you got to get used to that, especially when you're a new person. Because I can tell you, if I wasn't a realtor and one of my friends just got their real estate license, or I interviewed somebody who had been in the business 20 years and had a 20-year track record that they could show me, which one am I going to hire? Right? So there's a lot of challenges there, and you got to get used to that. I mean, I have to pick myself up off the mat every once in a while. All 3 of those, I felt like, oh, this is great. I'm gonna get these 3 new listings. They're going to be incredible. And I went over pricing with them. They know where they want to price it. They know the market. And then I get that call, email, or text, and that happens. So there's definitely some challenges there too. But overall, it's very rewarding for me. I can't say I love getting in the car and going out and looking at 5 or 10 houses with people before they make a decision. I try to really laser focus on it. I try to get people in the car 2 times. Let's go look at these 3. Let me hear about what you like or don't like. And then the next time it's going to be 3 or 4 houses, because I've listened to what they said, and I'm going to laser focus down on it. You said you wanted a large fenced-in backyard. You wanted a pool. You wanted 4 bedrooms, 3 baths. You need a den. You need a 3-car garage. You need a gated community. You wanted a community with lots of amenities. You needed a 55-plus community. Whatever it is, I listened to that. And those next 3 or 4 homes, I'm going to say, okay, which one? And most of the time, they pick one of those homes. So it is rewarding helping people, especially when I'm working with seniors, helping them transition to wherever they're going to. Is it they're moving into a retirement community? Are they moving to be closer to family? Are they moving in with their kids? What is it that they're doing? And making them understand that real estate in the 80s does not equal real estate in 2026. I still get the question all the time, where's your office? We don't have offices. My office is right here on my phone. I do all of my work on a computer and my phone. I can pull up anything that I need right there on that phone. So the days of having a local office or that realtor sells everything in our neighborhood. Oh, let me look at that. Did they list the homes or did they actually sell the homes? And when you have somebody that is known for that particular community, guess what they're doing? They're controlling prices in that community. They're not being challenged by other agents to say, hey, you could get this amount for it, or you could get this amount for it. They're predicting the prices and they're selling them because they're controlling the price in that particular community. So it's very important to know. My last little tidbit for you, if you are going to sell your house, don't go for the highest listing price because people always do that. I lose listings from people. I'm very accurate. I'm very detailed. I give them all the numbers. Here's the highest price, average price, lowest price per square foot. Where would you like to price your home? Let me open my laptop. Let me show you pictures of these homes that sold for these prices, and let's compare your home to that. And let's just say we came to an agreement, $675. Well, then the next agent comes in and says, I think you should list at $750. And 99% of the time they go for $750, right? And then 30 days later, gosh, nobody's looking at the home. I think we need to bring the price down. And then 60 days later, God, I don't understand. I think we need to bring the price down. And then they finally drop it down to what, $675, and the home will sell a week later if the market hasn't gone down too much to where they're chasing the market down. So price your home according to where you plan to sell, not the highest list price. Okay. So that's a little bit of a rant and why I got into real estate. So if you got any questions about getting into real estate, I'd love to talk to you about that. If I can help you get information about buying or selling a home, that's what I do. I love it. I do it 7 days a week. You can reach me on my cell phone at 941-962-7443. I look forward to hearing from you. And if you haven't done so, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and I put out a ton of information about real estate, about relocating to our area, things that are happening in real estate, things that are happening in the area. Okay, thanks so much for watching. See you on the next video.